to that one anyway.
Yeah, I'm on it, mate.
Yeah, perfect.
Good evening, Sorry, I'm going to rephrase that. Great evening.
Great evening.
Splendid evening. I'm telling you. Absolutely tremendous stuff. I'm telling you. But before we even start, I'm going to say, no, definitely, I have to take my hat off Mr. B for turning up. I must say, hat off. Big respect for that.
Yeah,
big respect for that, mate. Seriously, no, I am. All right, yeah. So, Mr. C, put your seatbelt on and buckle in. Get ready, because it's coming. Gentlemen, what can I say? Good evening, the cop artist. How you doing, sir?
Good evening, man. I'm brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Good evening, Stoney. How we doing?
I feel splendid.
Hey, splendid. And Mr. B, should I ask you?
This broadband's not working.
He's on dial-up.
I've got work in the morning. I hope this show. Apparently, I've been talking to administration, and they've guaranteed this show is going to be exactly 6 minutes. Yeah. So say what you have to say for 6 minutes, and then it's off. It's off.
Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me out here. You're killing me.
Amazing.
Okay.
Absolutely
all right,
amazing.
gentlemen. Let's tuck into this. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of this. All right. We are going to start with the lineups and where we went wrong, as per usual. Guaranteed we're going to get them wrong, and sure we did. And I'm telling you, for me, Klopp really pulled one out there. He really did. He really did.
I think it was quite interesting as well, because I know in the previous show we was mentioning about the possible lineups for Liverpool, and I think it was a positive step that he did actually play Reece Williams in such a high-profile game. I think Kabak did have a slight knock, and I know that if anybody's able to go back to the preview show, I would have commented about if Kabak had played, I believe he would have had nightmares with Cavani. But yeah, I think it was really good that he did actually show the faith in Reece Williams as well. I thought that was tenfold. I think he played wonderful today. He almost played as a sweeper today as well. So I think that was quite interesting. And with Mane, I know we spoke yesterday about his stats compared to Rashford, but like anything else, he may have been I know it was Eid today as well, so we don't know what impact that's obviously had on him as well. But either way, very good selection by both managers and a good win for Liverpool today.
But saying that was Eid, but Salah played.
Sure, you're right, but also as well, it depends on how players actually feel during this period of time as well. So yeah, 100% I agree with you on that. Yeah, and also Pogba would have been celebrating Eid as well. So yeah.
So number one, Mr. B.
Do you mind if I ask you something, Mr. B? This would have been the first game in a period of time where Maguire didn't play. Do you think that you're a one-man team?
Yeah, we are. One man's not Maguire. The one man's not Maguire.
So who is it then?
No, he's not. He's not.
So who is it? Fraudnandez?
Yeah.
Why is he Fraudnandez?
My God.
The only reason you can hear him screaming because there's no fans.
You could have had a full stadium and you still would have heard him scream.
I would have heard him in Shepherd's Bush. I'm sure he nearly rolled that far as well. I saw him rolling down the A40. Jesus Christ, it was terrible. You lot should be embarrassed. Absolutely terrible.
Nope.
I ain't seen that much rolling since Ronaldo first turned up.
I thought in overall though, I think in a previous show we mentioned about our danger men, and I think for me my danger men I'd highlighted was Thiago and Salah, and I think for the opposition it would have been Greenwood and Cavani. I also think that we spoke about how I think yourself, Mr. B, and Omondi spoke about how well Luke Shaw would have done this season and what the possible matchup would have been between Salah and Shaw in this game. Yeah. Is that correct? So all I'd like anybody to do tuning into the show is, if you have an opportunity, go back to 52 minutes 27 in the game.
Wow.
Please. 52 minutes 27. And look at the missed touch that this amazing player Luke Shaw done. That's all I'll ask you to do. Okay? That's all I'll ask you to do.
He really did take note, didn't he?
Yeah, I did. Post this. Listen, I was ready, man. I was ready.
What's your thoughts, Cop Artists, on the lineups today?
Well, I mean, the United lineup was pretty much what I think we all sort of agreed would happen. It would have been a full strength team. There were sort of ums and ahs about whether maybe Greenwood would play from the start or not, but I think because he played on Thursday, possibly on Tuesday, possibly not. The formation was exactly what we expected. As for our team, yeah, I mean, I didn't expect Reece Williams to be put in, and I know Stoney mentioned Reece Williams on the preview show, saying that if we lose, it's sort of a learning curve for him, a bit of experience. But if we win, again, it's the same sort of thing, but on the other sort of foot. It's still more experience for him. I thought he played exceptionally well today. And there were a couple of times he made a couple of poor touches, maybe. But apart from that, he was pretty solid. Phillips was solid. To be honest with you, I expected Mane to play and Jota to be on the bench and come on as an impact. So he did it the other way around.
Yeah.
But one of my danger men was Firmino. I did say I think he will score because of playing in the middle. And he proved me right, thank God, because they got the score wrong, which I never get right anyway. But overall, there wasn't a great deal of surprises there, to be quite honest with any of the lineup, apart from the Reece Williams one.
Yeah, Mr. B. Mr. B, come on, man. Come on.
What do you want to say? What do you want to say?
Defend your team, brother.
Yes.
The team that we picked, the team that was picked was the team that I think I called. My issue with our team is obviously the centre two, the pivot. I think until that gets changed, we're always going to have an issue whether we play home or away with it. I just don't think it's got enough in midfield. Your midfield totally dominated ours today. I think Gigi had a quiet and effective game, effective game. Thiago, I'm still waiting to see that. Who else played in centre mid? Sorry for you guys.
So we had
Fabinho.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the dog's bollocks, man. So that the control that you had, you were able to dominate from that part of the pitch. We had Fred and McTominay, who obviously are limited in what they can do. Pogba was kept quiet today, really quiet. And I thought that we didn't really offer you guys. We had a good 20 minutes in the first half. You had the better last 25 minutes. We came out of the second half. I couldn't even begin to explain. But from a United point of view, I look at two of those goals as errors. And there was chances that were created that were from errors. Don't get me wrong, you lot pounced on the errors that we made, but certain positions on the pitch you don't expect to be losing the ball, and I think we just gave in. We kept on feeding you. We got the ball back twice. I mean, the third goal was that the Luke Shaw running into the player and the player taking the ball off. Before that, Fred had lost the ball, set it up. Luke tried to dribble out and the ball from and scored. So there was a lot of errors in the game. Don't get me wrong, the way that Liverpool came out in the second half was how you guys, I haven't seen you guys play with that. All right, I don't watch Liverpool a lot, but the intensity that you lot had in that second half, there was a stage where you lot just camped. Basically, we had all of our 11 players in, and you lot had all of your players all around, just like a, what's that circle thing? Is it not protractor? What's that? Not the protractor. You know how you said it?
Yeah.
That's how you lot had it. And you was pinned in. And I'm thinking, flipping heck, we're not going to get the ball out. So, as I said, I don't watch Liverpool a lot, I'll be honest. But that intensity was what I expect to see Liverpool play like. So yeah, we weren't in the game. And the fourth goal, yeah, it was coming. Just
it's what Salah does. It's what he does.
Yeah, it was, but it was a mistake by Matic.
For me, though, it was very disappointing.
I mean, so again, that's 3 mistakes. And before yesterday, I said my danger man was going to be Firmino. He was the guy who I expected, and lo and behold, what happened?
Yeah,
they don't have the brains not to mark. You know, as I said, Bailly followed him a lot,
and Bailly also with the penalty that wasn't a penalty. I think you called it on a preview show yesterday, Man MrB, about Bailly attacking spaces and areas that he shouldn't necessarily attack with his experience. So even that opportunity with Nat Phillips, I'm just putting it out there. You know, maybe I'm talking with Liverpool bias, but I was just so shocked that wasn't a penalty. But you called it yesterday about the irrational behavior of Bailly and his indecision. So, but it wasn't given. It should have been given, but it wasn't given. And I think the only disheartening thing about that is with the use of VAR, it's not seen in real time. So I believe that the ref would have been watching it in slow-mo. If that was watched in real time, my opinion is that was a penalty. But it wasn't given.
He watched it in real time. He watched it in real time from 10 yards away.
Yeah, it's bananas. So that's definitely bananas. But you did actually call it yesterday, Mr. B, about how irrational sometimes Bailly can actually be, and he obviously had the red flag today. So
frustrating for me was that as Mr. B said, the intensity that we showed is what we had last season, the season before. We've been missing that this season, but all of a sudden we can show it today against United.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be like that.
That really hurts, man. That really hurts to know that all of a sudden we can show it again today against. So what, do we need to play United every week then? Is that what it is? It's crazy. It's crazy. Do you not also, Mr. B, what do you reckon about Ole playing Rashford on the other side just to accommodate Pogba? Would it not have been better to actually play Rashford on the left, where he's been so successful, and play Greenwood on the right?
I think it's down to the way the team's evolved, in all fairness. Cavani doesn't score when Rashford plays on the left. He doesn't have... He wants to score goals. Pogba's brain is more to play in a man to assist. And when, as I said, I think it's more of a combination thing. He is better on the left, much better on the left. But until Ole is probably brave enough to play with one of the two, central two, then Pogba needs to play. So Pogba's the position he was going to play. So I think he more fell into playing on the left when Rashford got injured, did well, did better than Rashford had been doing in regards to team play, not goal output, but more in regards to playing players in, linking play. And I think Ole likes that a little bit more. So him playing on the right. Rashford's form's been in and out. As much as these numbers have been what they are, you know, if you're playing with an injury, everybody says he's been playing with this injury, that injury for 2 years. I don't know. That could just be an excuse, you know, but an injury still doesn't stop a man from getting his head up and playing a pass instead of going for the shot. So that's more how I look at it. I just think it's a balance thing with him playing. Rashford was never going to, Greenwood was never going to play because he played on Tuesday, as Cop Artist said. There's just not enough time to play. So the team we put out is what I expected. Still disappointed, but we had to.
And the result that we got is what I expected.
Yeah, he did say. Yeah, I think my prediction was 2-1 with Salah and Thiago and Cavani scoring. I mean, in fairness, as you said, as much as you mentioned, Mr. B, that Rashford may have had an indifferent season, his finish today was calm. That was a very, very, very nice finish.
Yeah, but then he missed another one. Similar one.
Did,
yeah.
And see, that is the little, you know, I'm looking at levels. You look at Salah. Salah gets both of those. He scores both of them. I know it's a different side of the pitch, different foot, but certain players, you know, when they're in, they're going to score, and when they miss, it's a shock. Yeah, it's a shock. But with Rashford, it's more, well done, go on.
Okay.
Will you do it again? Where with Salah, it's again.
You must admit though, Mr. B, I heard you clapping from the other side of London when Salah just placed that ball. You see when he scored that goal on the I actually want to run to your house and give you a hug. That is the only. I wanted to give you such a warm hug.
I was outside. He wouldn't open the door, Stoney.
Yeah, because you know it was. Honestly, I think yesterday, yourself and Omondi, you spoke about Shaw as if he was your son. You spoke about him with so much confidence and what he was going to do against the Egyptian king. And you know, Shaw did nothing, my friend. He's a punk. He did nothing. And it was amazing just to see. It's almost as if I truly believe Salah actually tuned in to watch the FTB show yesterday and heard yourself and Omondi attempt to belittle him. And he almost said, just for you, Mr. B, and just for you, Omondi. But it was just an icing on the cake. What a beautiful finish, right?
So, Cop Artist, tell me, how did you feel with the first goal when we went 1-0 down? What was your thought?
Yeah.
All right, it was a little bit poor defending, not closing him down quick enough. You know, the shot from, you want to call it a shot, from Bruno.
Yeah.
From the outside of his foot, it was clever. It was a clever shot because obviously he's a right-footed player on the right-hand side, trying to bend it into that far side. So admiration for him to decide quickly to do that. Was it going wide? Some are saying yes, some are saying it might have hit the post and gone in. It was just a bit unfortunate that it hit Phillips. And Alisson had no chance. Absolutely no chance.
To be fair, it didn't hit Phillips. Phillips put his foot up. So it didn't hit him. Phillips hit the ball.
Yeah. Obviously, he was trying to block it.
But I felt that Alisson would have saved that. If Phillips didn't touch it, I think Alisson would have saved it.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. You know, it would either have gone wide, but then again, it was a little bit like Rashford's goal when Robertson went down, slide down to try and block the shot, and it hit his knee very slightly. Yeah. Now, did that push it more towards the goal rather than if it hadn't have gone, it may have hit the post? You know, we're talking fractions here, but it may have been enough just to have diverted that ball into the goal for Rashford's goal. Obviously, it was sort of fairly on target, but I'm not so sure Bruno's was on target.
Okay.
So to me,
we're going to move on to Stoney. address both penalties for me, both penalty shouts for me. The handball, bye-bye, and the tackle.
So if we're talking about the tackle by on Phillips, I believe it was a penalty. And I must admit, with the handball, I was unsure. As much as I want to say it was, I must admit, I have to be honest, I was unsure with that. So I was unsure with that second one.
Mr. B, both penalties. What do you reckon?
The first one, I mean, I was surprised when there was so much. I just didn't think it was a penalty, just because. I mean, maybe I'm older. I'm a little bit older. So when a player gets the ball, I thought that he got the ball, and he wasn't in control of the follow through, but it wasn't a studs up. It was more just body shape that gave the foul. If you had given it, you can't complain. You can't moan, because you've seen penalties given where a man's made a cleaner tackle than that, you know, and momentum's taking him into the player. So the fact that I didn't think it was a penalty, but I would understand if it was given. The handball, I don't. Which one was that? When was the handball?
When he slid, the ball slid under him, and he made the lunge to try and block the ball, and it come up and then hit his hand.
Oh, see, and again, Pogba's had one given against him for a similar thing. So again, I don't understand what the criteria is for VAR.
Yeah.
You know, they say to us, it's this. So when it goes to VAR, we're expected it to be a certain decision. And then whether they don't show a certain camera angle or they show it quickly, I don't understand what it is. So both you could have given 2 penalties easily today, no problem. 2 penalties could have been given. I'm glad they weren't, because then that would have been even more links. But you know, they could have been given, no problem at all.
And cop artist. Both penalties.
On the penalties, I don't think the handball was a handball. He's sliding in to try and make a tackle. It's gone under him. His arm isn't in an unnatural position to slide like that. So that's the rule. If his arm is in an unnatural position, then yes, it's a penalty. To me, it wasn't an unnatural position. You're going to slide. Your arm's going to go out to control the slide. That's fine. So I'll give that to them. But definitely, for me, the tackle, and I get where Mr. B's coming from with the body shape and the follow through. But if you do that anywhere on the pitch, apart from in the box, it's a stonewall free kick.
Yeah.
So if it's a stonewall free kick outside the box, it's got to be a penalty inside the box.
100%.
Regardless of whether he's taken the ball or not. He didn't take it cleanly, I admit. But, Phillips didn't get in his way. He was going for the ball as a 50-50 ball. He got to it before. But I got to it before Phillips. His momentum took him through, completely took him out. Penalty.
100%. So the first one, the handball for me, subjective because of how they've made the laws for me. They're talking about diverting the ball on all courses of play and that. So that's exactly what's happened with his hand. But for me, as a football fan and how I've grown up playing football, that's not a penalty because he's not done that on purpose. But how they've governed the laws, you could argue for that to be a penalty. And this is where the inconsistencies come in. Like Mr. B said, one was given against Pogba, and now this one isn't given. So what happens the next time? What's the decision going to be next time?
Nobody's going to know.
That everybody seems to have. The second one, for me, it's a stonewall penalty because I know he got to the ball first, but he's not in control of his body, and he's followed through and then taken the player out. So that's got to be a penalty for me. Stonewall penalty.
Right? Can I say what I don't understand? There was one in the second half where McTominay. I thought it was a penalty.
Challenged Mane.
He challenged Mane.
Rugby tackled him.
I thought that was a penalty, but nobody. It's like it wasn't.
Nobody reacted. Yeah,
there was no reaction from even the commentators. There was no.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay.
No, someone did say actually. Someone did say someone in the comment said he's a very lucky boy.
Yeah, it was Gary Neville. Gary Neville said it.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
he's a very lucky boy.
I don't understand why that wasn't given as a penalty.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it wasn't given. I'll tell you why it wasn't given.
Second yellow.
Because McTominay had just been booked.
Yes.
Okay. He's gone down. You know, within a minute later, he's pulled Mane down. The ref is literally gone to go to blow his whistle. You can see his hand move. Okay. And he's realised that if he blows for a foul, he's also got to give him another yellow card and send him off. So he decided he's not going to do that. And in my book, that is out and out blatant cheating by the referee. Nothing to do with the player. I'm not having to go at the player. The player's done what he's done. This is solely down to the referee. And the referee cheated there, in my opinion. Right. And that's not coming from a biased Liverpool fan. It's the law.
Before we get into some of these comments, just quickly one point I want to raise, Vince. So, first 20 minutes, United were bossing the game. What changed? What changed for Liverpool? What changed it?
I think we just settled down. I think we were very nervous about making mistakes and going goal behind, like we have been doing at times. I just think over a period of time, for those 20 minutes, they realised, you know what, United aren't playing exceptionally well. They're not really causing us a major issue. So I think all the players calmed down a little bit and started passing better, quicker, and creating space for themselves. And I think that just relaxed them.
Yeah. And you know what was quite interesting, I think, in those opening 20 minutes that you mentioned, Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka, they were making inverted runs. So as fullbacks, usually get them actually going wide or hugging the line. Both of them were actually playing very, very, very narrow and almost occupying and creating an extra man or men in midfield for Manchester United. That was quite interesting to see how Ollie and the coaching staff actually set that up. So I thought that was actually a quite interesting tactic as well.
Mr. B, what do you think changed after them first 20 minutes?
You lot see things from a completely different angle that I have.
Okay.
I just think that the first 20 minutes, you lot didn't do nothing for our central midfield. As soon as you lot started touching them, getting a little bit closer, all of a sudden, the midfield started panicking. So for the first 20 minutes, we had our midfield able to pick up a ball and spray a pass. As soon as that 22nd minute came, all of a sudden, all of your players seemed to shift up the pitch, maybe 10 yards. So your starting position, you were actually in the faces of our midfielders. So when they're now looking up to pass, all of a sudden, they've got a Liverpool player in front of them. So then the ball started going backwards and sideways. It then isolated our front, maybe three. I would say three, because Bruno sort of dropped in. But it totally killed them. The way that you look, whether that was a tactic by Klopp, or whether it was just how the way the game, and then the mistakes in the midfield started, the passing mistakes passed, and that's when you lot started pouncing. So that, I think that the midfield, your midfield changed. Whether, as I said, whether it was by design or by, I think with Klopp it was more probably by design.
I think we was way too slow, man. We was off the pace. We weren't close enough, and our passing and everything was too slow as well. Very lethargic in those first 20 minutes. All of a sudden, it's like, I don't know, it's like they'd had a shot or a line, and they perked up. And the moment we got closer, it wasn't just one person. All of a sudden, there was two people around that player closing the ball. And when the ball was breaking, it was breaking to a Liverpool player because there are players around them. And that's where the problem started to. And then obviously Man United's on the back foot. And then obviously Man United's man of the match, Fred. I don't know. You should have just given him one of our shirts because the amount of passes he made to us.
True.
Look at his face.
It was.
I'm telling you,
it was crazy.
I'm not going to come on your show and do that whole Fred rant. So
I thought you had a great game. I thought you had a great game.
Very interesting.
He was brilliant today. I'm telling
you did call it tactically yesterday. Yourself and Omondi did actually show about some of the limitations that he did actually have. So in an opportunity today, and obviously watching the game, you guys were literally on point to down to the smallest percentage. You guys called it perfectly. So, I mean, but you're right. You're right. It's really strange. We did start off quite passive, and then after after about 23 minutes, after Trent rolled that ball through to Jota, and Jota did that Johan Greif turn to just place that ball in the goal. It's like, wow. That was just such a beautiful finish. What I will say about Wan-Bissaka, though, that I did actually notice today, and I have to give him quite a lot of credit for, not just today, but maybe because today was such a high-profile game. He is probably, I can only think of 2 fullbacks that actually do this, right? I'm not saying I know all of the fullbacks in the world because I don't, but there's 2 fullbacks that actually play in a similar way. Wan-Bissaka and Marcelo from Real Madrid. They're the only 2 fullbacks that I actually know. Next time you watch Wan-Bissaka, look how much time he always has to place the ball and roll the base of his foot on the ball to change direction. I noticed it so much today. The man has so much technical ability. Just remember I said that, okay? Wan-Bissaka and Marcelo from Real Madrid, the way that he controls the ball on the base of his foot to actually change direction, he did that so much today. Definitely a good fullback today. Okay,
we're gonna say good evening, Lee Shane. He said Bruno Fraudnandez. You hear that? You hear that, Mr. B? Fraudnandez. All he did tonight was moan to the ref, fall over, moan to the ref, fall over, cry, moan to the ref, fall over, moan to the ref, scream like a female dog.
Yes, that's class, Lee.
He was terrible. Mark Pickering. Good evening, Mark. He says, sorry. 4-2, good win. Now to get that top 4. For one happy Liverpool fan, and Kev, give it to them, mate. Definitely, most definitely. Mr. Breezy. Mr. Breezy says, Mr. B, you're looking so sad.
I got a message from Mr. Breezy. Thank his lovely lady for getting him to put that thing on the WhatsApp.
That's class. That's class.
Good evening, Edward Brown as well. There's been a big shout to Mr. Edward Brown. Oh, we've got quite a few of them to get through here, yeah? Good evening, Sparker B. Good evening, Cuz. How you doing? And Sparker says the high press, Man U was a pace behind, losing too many balls. Rashford looked like he's not on form, even though he scored. Shouts goes out to Reese. As always, Man U couldn't pass today, gave us opportunities. Well said, Reese. Very, very true. They did cause a lot of their own downfalls today.
Yep.
Good question here. I think this one is, we'll have to leave this one for Mr. B from Lee Shane. So, was it worthwhile making 10 changes against Leicester?
Yeah,
I've got something to say on that, but I'm going to wait for Mr. B.
People need to remember, physically, it's virtually impossible for players to play those 2 games in a row. If there was a 3-day gap, I could understand people moaning. I'm not a professional footballer. So when I play football, it probably takes me 2 weeks to recover. I know that their bodies are trained in a way where, they will go and they will sleep in these foot bags that regenerate their muscles and sleep in cryo chambers and all of this. But I just don't believe it's physically possible to play 2 games in 2 days. So the changes that he made, I think he had to make. If it was a 3, as I said, if there was another day, then I could understand, okay, then you're proper taking the piss. But that's what he did what he had to do. And I think that was the right, me personally, biased Man United fan, I thought that was the right decision to have done against Leicester.
Okay. All right, let me just jump in there before Kevin Stoney's got something to say. Let me just jump in there. I've always been of the belief of win that game first and worry about that other one next. So the game against Leicester, for me, win that game first. Whatever happens after that, then you worry about that one. There's no guarantee that you're going to go on and win if you're going to go on and win that next game, even if you rest players, as you've been shown today. So my first thing is win that first game against Leicester with my squad, and then I'll see how I can just change up the squad for the next game. You can't just be playing. Oh right, I'm gonna make a change. It's like you're guaranteeing that I'm gonna win that next game now, and there's no guarantees for that.
Agreed.
Yeah. Stone your Kev.
Yeah. I think, as he said, things are good in hindsight. I think on the previous show, I didn't have the opportunity to comment about what I thought about it, and I must admit, I still believe Ollie did the right decision, and this is me, right? So Man United would have played on Sunday. They had a game on Tuesday, and they would have had to have played again today. Where Manchester United would have had or been at an advantage is that they still have a squad that they're able to put out and play in Europe, and they've got to the final for Europe. So it showed that the squad is actually strong enough. Ollie was always going to be at a disadvantage. All right. So check this out. If Manchester United won today, I believe the majority of people would have said Ole got the selection correct. So he would have played the team on Sunday, a different team on Tuesday, and a different team today. So everybody would have said he got correct. Because the result didn't go Manchester United's way, I then believe people are going to question his team's team selection. So I still go back. I'm very happy that we won today, but I still don't believe anybody should be questioning Ollie's selection. And the reason why I say that also, he's going to have a closer opportunity to see how the players actually recover behind the scenes, the coaching staff and everything like that. So I'm not going to see Ollie being at fault for his selection between Sunday, Tuesday or Thursday. If I was a manager, personally, I would have done the same thing. Because guess what? Suppose he had played the same team on Sunday and his full strength team on Tuesday, and then they had a lot of injuries to come into this game on Thursday, and the result was the same. People would have been battering Ole. So I think it was he was always going to be at a disadvantage, unfortunately, and that's just my opinion on that.
Kev,
I take on board exactly what Stoney's just said, and he makes a couple of good points. For me, I think about sort of the way sort of managers' heads work and what they say in interviews, and they always spout, "We only ever concentrate on the next game." And he obviously wasn't concentrating on the next game.
Exactly.
Now, if he has faith in his own squad and he has faith in the players like he played Tuesday, why not make 5 changes, 6 changes? Okay, and have the others rested and then swap them around on the Thursday rather than making the whole 10 changes. So for me, you can't have it both ways. You can't sort of say, okay, we're going to concentrate. We only ever concentrate on the next game and what's going to happen in that game and what we're planning to do, and then go and make a 10, because he wouldn't have had that planned in his head straight from the off. This would have been going back all the way to when the original match was cancelled.
Sure.
Okay, and obviously he's gone from planning from there. Once he knows when that match is going to happen, he's got that period of time, 7 days or whatever, to think, okay, what am I going to do? Oh, well, let's change the whole squad and give the whole squad, the whole first team, a rest. But he's not really thinking about the next game to win the next game. He's hoping they're going to win or hoping they're going to get a result, but he's actually not really concentrating on that game. He's concentrating on the game after.
Yeah.
Which his choices prove.
Good evening goes out to Alan. He says 10 men rested, still slapped. That's right. Get out of here. Sorry, it's a backhand. That's right. Backhand slap. Reese says, go on, Artie, burst out the beers. Too right, mate. That's the first one of many for tonight, I tell ya. Lee Shane says only certainties in life is death, taxes, and no penalties against United at Old Trafford. Damn right, Lee. I like Lee.
Thank you, Lee.
Well, Lee.
And Lee's a Liverpool supporter as well, so that's class. Thank you, Lee.
Sparker B reckons that Bailly got the ball. Yeah, we didn't dispute that, Sparker. We know he got the ball, but he followed through and took the man after, and that's what we're talking about. Edward Brown, and I said we would get 4 in the net. You did. Oh God, what is wrong with these Chelsea fans, man? I tell you, Liverpool polish up big ears for Chelsea. We're coming to collect it just now.
Well, actually, he's got to speak to Bayern Munich, doesn't he?
That's right. He's got to speak to Bayern Munich. That's what I'm talking about. It's all right. Luke Shaw, 2 meat and what does he say? Is meat and 2 veg.
Yeah.
And someone mentioned yesterday about Robbo being better than Luke Shaw, and I remember Mr. B and Omondi kind of smirking and laughing. Being a bit disrespectful. Huh? Being a bit disrespectful, weren't you?
One good game does
like 3 or 4 good seasons.
Like he said, he obviously doesn't watch Liverpool often, so obviously that's why he can say that. It shows. Exactly. It obviously shows. Yeah.
We had a comment earlier on as well from Pipe 71, and I think it may be directed at you, Mr. B. His question is, how's the big brother and little brothers doing? Sorry, I'm late. So Pipe 71, super Spurs fan out there looking after everybody in the capital, picking up everybody for Eid today. How are you feeling, big brother? What's your assessment of the game today?
I'm feeling absolutely fine. As I said, as a younger sibling, I will always show you love. Whether the love is reciprocated, I think that's the word I'm looking for, in times like this, it doesn't matter. I can't hate you. I must always show love and compassion. That's what Mum told me. So, love is there for you and your fellow Scouse supporters.
Oh God, you're a top man.
So yeah,
you're a top man.
Absolutely fine.
Amy B says, "Great show again, gents. Well done. Thank you very much, Amy."
Thank you, Amy.
Okay, and also Alan. What's Alan saying? United boys playing with one eye on the final. Is he wrong? What do you reckon?
When is the final? I do apologize. When is the final? It's a few weeks' time, right?
It's like 2 weeks. You know what? Okay. That's not an excuse. No. Not going to accept that as an excuse for what we took today.
Okay.
I think Jota had a good game today. He was on the second chance, when he hit the crossbar as well. I mean that could also change the dimension of the game as well. But I thought Jota had a really, really, really good game today. Influential in different areas. I still think he's been a wonderful purchase for us as well, and he's actually shown that when we did purchase him, he started off so positively. You can clearly see that we did miss him during his injury, and he's come back and he's almost restarted at the same level that when we actually purchased him for. So yeah, Jota had a good game today. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Okay. All right. So let's start with Kev. Who's your man of the match today, Kev?
For me, I'm going to go for Trent. I thought he was solid. He looked confident. His passing was good. His crossing was great. The cross or the free kick for the goal, superb, right on the money. And I know he's been lacking confidence lately, and obviously there's been talk about him with England not being picked, all that sort of thing. But again, I think today just showed how vital he is, not only to us as a Liverpool fan, but also to England. So yeah, definitely for me, Trent.
Mr. B, who's your man of the match?
I don't normally give opposition to.
If you want, you can pick Fred if you want. I like.
You know what? Boy, please don't. I've had drink. My mouth will just run and run and run and run and run. So just please don't get me started. Your team, you know what? I think it was Jota. I'm surprised he doesn't start more, because when he seems to start, he always seems to produce something. I understand who you've got playing, so I understand why he doesn't start. But I think Jota had a good game. I think Jota was probably who I would give man of the match to.
Okay, and Stoney.
I think in the preview show, I think I'd said that my man of the match that I was hoping would have been either Salah or Thiago, and I've got two players that unfortunately I can't pick one or the other. So I think Bobby had a really good game today. I really, really, really like the way that Firmino played today. But you know what? My play today was Reece Williams, and I'll explain why. I think on a previous show I'd actually mentioned if Kabak had played, I think Cavani would have ran him absolutely ragged. I think the fact that Klopp's continued to have faith in our academy players, I think was a plus point. But yeah, he had a seamless game today. So as he said,
is that the same academy players that Mr. B on a Monday was talking about we don't bring through?
I believe so. Yeah. On Monday said they had 5 in one of the last games.
I'll just check it.
No, please.
On Monday said it.
On Monday said.
On Monday.
I'm sure you backed him up.
No.
I'm sure you backed him up.
I backed up. You rewind that and watch. I backed up nobody.
Monday. Yeah.
I listened to Stoney. Yeah, he tells me about the players coming. So I might not know what they look like, but when I hear the names, I've heard them. You dig out a Monday, yeah? Oh.
All right. No, well, you have to take it for him because he hasn't shown his face today, so you have to hold it for him.
So yeah, my players today, man of the match, it would have been a close between Bobby and Reece Williams, but I'm going to go for Reece Williams. I have to give this young man quite a lot of credit as well, playing in such a high-profile game, playing in a game that meant a lot. And yeah, I was really, really, really happy with his performance as well. So Reece Williams for me today.
Okay. Jota played well for me today. Thiago played well for me today. But the standout player for me, head and shoulders above everybody as far as I'm concerned, is Trent Alexander. He didn't get roasted. His deliveries were absolutely true. There was one that he put in the box, and if you saw the disgust on his face that there was nobody there to even get onto it. And even Gary Neville said, what a great cross. It was tremendous. And there was nobody there trying to attack that ball. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're your striker, you see him going down the line, you better break your neck to get in that box, man, because you know what you're getting. Do you understand? You know what you're getting. Yeah. Adrian, good evening, bro. How you doing? Where had that performance been all season? Yeah, that's what we said. Great win, just confused how we found that intensity come the end of the season. It's the derby game, isn't it? It's the derby game at United.
Kind of goes out the window as well.
Form and everything goes out the window. Because if it was down to the form books, we'd have lost the game, to be fair. If you're talking on form. So form and everything goes out the window when you play them derby games. Can we get third? I know Kev's answer, but the rest, what do you think? That's Edward. Can we get third? We're struggling to get fourth, about third.
I know. Look, well, I think the answer to that is I'm going to be honest. What are we? Have we played 35 games?
35.
Yeah. We played 35 games, and I think we're on 60. Yeah, so when we're on 60 points, Leicester are on. 66. So Leicester have played one game ahead, and I think they're in 66.
Yeah.
So in my heart, as much as I'd like to say yes, I can't believe it. We may well have an opportunity to catch Chelsea. Because Chelsea, we got a game in hand and Chelsea are in 64 points. So third, no, fourth is a possibility. But as he said, look, we've had so many chances in the last few game weeks and we've just blown opportunities. Why we weren't able to put in a performance when we played against Leeds and Newcastle, in the same way that we played against United today, I have absolutely no idea. I think third is just as important as fourth because they both allow us to get into the Champions League. So we've got 3 games left and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think definitely there's games above where teams have got to play each other.
Yeah.
That could definitely give us a big opportunity to make that. So we just have to we put in our work and do our job. That's the only thing we can do is win our games and see where that takes us. So just before we wrap this up, gentlemen, I just want to ask the one thing before we wrap this up, and let's not take too long on it. Who can talk about ref's performance overall?
I'm going to keep my mouth shut because my mouth will just run on and on and on. Absolutely. For me, he's one of the worst refs in the system. I mean, we don't have the best referee system in the world anyway.
Yeah.
You've only got to look at the choice of refs for the World Cup last time out. We didn't have any representing us.
Yeah.
I think there's only maybe one or two decent refs out there. For some reason, they just seem to think they're a law above themselves, and they'll make decisions on their own, off their own back, rather than going by the rules. What they see, for me, is unbelievable, because I know we get to see the replays and stuff like that, but there are some decisions throughout the whole season for all teams where refereeing decisions have been absolutely shocking. And something needs to change drastically.
Yeah.
Poor. Yeah, it's very poor. Mr. B.
We lost. So I'm not giving the ref. I thought the referee was disgusting. I thought it was a performance. Bloody wanker. Nah, look, he did that.
So you're on the fence then, yeah?
Yeah. He was
Mr. B's on the fence.
Yeah. He was. Now, you know what? He did. The thing with the VAR now, I think referees don't make decisions. They can guess the decision, and VAR will get them out of the error that they're making. I think that it's just taken. They don't care if they don't have. They didn't have to answer before. Now they have to answer even less, because it goes upstairs to those men at Stockley Park, and they're giving whatever decision they want to give, and the referee blows it. Done. They moan about VAR, they moan about it, but it's still not going to change anything. So I think the standard of refereeing is going lower and lower, because they know that they're protected by the people above. His performance today, I would probably would I even give him a 5? I don't even think I'd give him a 5. And that was more not because of the penalties that I'm glad we didn't get. It's the blatant one that I thought should have been given that wasn't given. So his performance wasn't great. So he'd give him a 5, and that would have been, even if we had got a half result out of it. I don't think he was great today.
Stoney.
I think I'd just like to extend on what Mr. B and a couple artists have really said. I think it's what we've probably all witnessed is just the inconsistency. The inconsistency in the fact that regardless of whatever decisions refs make, it's like they can always go back to say it's on VAR.
This is for Mr. Silver Fox, yeah? There's your wave.
I put that for purpose. I was hoping you would spot that.
Okay. So I think the couple artists and Mr. B have said literally it's just the lack of consistency, and I think it spoils the game for the viewer, and it spoils the game for the players as well. So once that gets ironed out, hopefully you can get back to watching a nice spectacle and a level of entertainment that we all appreciate.
Yeah, I believe, and I also believe part of that VAR coming in as well is exactly just talking. Take the pressure off the refs, and we can have it back there, because we're not in front of everybody, in the forefront where everybody can see, and then we can make that decision, and you can then turn around and say it wasn't me, it was them.
Yeah,
that's a big part of it as well. Big part of it as well. But I heard that Andy Taylor. I heard that he had to get an Uber. He was meant to get a lift with Alex Ferguson, but Fergie told him to do one after that. You know what I mean? So you had to get an Uber in. And I heard his brown envelope was halved. Yeah. His brown envelope was halved.
I do have a question. Regarding the referee, do you think it's about time now, based on what we've all said about the refereeing, and the levels, that these referees are mic'd up, and it should be heard what's being said by VAR to the refs, and the refs to VAR, and to their their linesmen, because for me, they've become untouchable. They're not interviewed at the end of the game to justify their decisions. You see it in rugby. You hear them in rugby. The VAR system in rugby is spot on.
Yep.
And it's just making a mockery. That's making a mockery of our refereeing and VAR system. So why can't we adopt what the rugby system has in football?
Interesting. Because even that mic'd up thing you were speaking about, Cop Artist, Ben Foster for Watford.
Yeah.
If any of you guys tune into his channel on YouTube, it's amazing as well, right? Because a lot of the time he's done it in games and he does it in training as well. He's actually mic'd up. And when you hear how vocal Ben Foster is and all of the dialogue around him, that would be very interesting if a ref was actually mic'd up. That would open up, I think, a can of worms. But as you said, money at the moment we've seen in football is power. And if the money means that the audience is going to get more out of watching the games and entertainment, then I believe anything is possible.
Okay. Gentlemen, we are going to wrap this up. Been going for a good while now. I could go all night, to be fair, because I feel fighting fit. You know what I mean?
Mate, buzzing.
You get me? But before we go, I will say, gentlemen, come on, man. Let's be nice to Mr. B. Give him a round of applause for showing face.
Thank you.
Respect, mate.
Once again, 100%. Thank you very much, sir.
For that. Face, man. No, respect for that. 100%.
Yeah, massive respect.
Yeah.
Okay, so, gents, we're going to leave it right here. Cop Artist, go and enjoy the rest of the evening. Stoney.
Good evening,
Mr. B. I'm going to go and get another one of these. One chilling in the freezer, nice and cold.
Enjoy.
And you know when you bust up, you go,
yeah.
That's the one. Gentlemen, thanks very much, lads. Take care.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Bye.